I'm finally caught up on a lot of the different projects I've been working on, mainly the power pickups. So it's time to start doing some Lego city building. And because I finally got my order of strings from Lego, I wanted to start over here. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding the transformers and power lines to come down to all the different trailers in my small trailer park. Now, originally I started using dark gray for the transformers, but because I found these at a much cheaper price, we're going to be putting the rest of the transformers on the poles with the white parts. Let's get started by removing one of these so we can add our part into it. The telephone poles that I make, all it is a combination of this Technic connector and this Technic axle. You slide them all together until you get a good length and size. And what we're going to be doing is removing this last one to add in this part. And the reason that we're adding that into there is because we want to be able to put our transformers on either side of the post. So I'm going to be taking the longer Technic pin, sliding it all the way through, and now we can place the transformers on either side of the post. And once we get those placed, we'll be using the extra stud hole that's on either side, and that's going to be the part where we connect our power line down to each one of our trailers. Now we can place that back onto our pole base as we're knocking other poles down. Get it set and ready to start hooking up our power lines to the trailers. And now, after a lot of trial and error, you can see that every single trailer has a power line going to it. And I made sure to add the riser and meter can to the back side of every single trailer to try and help add to that realism. Let me tell you though, this was not an easy task, because trying to get this balanced to where every single pole has the string going down, it was frustrating at times. But I really like the overall look, and I think it really helps to add a nice touch of detail to this portion of the city. Now we just need to add a little bit more vegetation and some trees, and I'm going to call this corner completely done. I'm going to start by adding a little bit of texture, and how I'm going to do that is we're going to be using a whole bunch of this leaf piece to add a bit of overgrowth around the backside and on this side of the track. Now, with a little bit of vegetation added, I felt we needed to add some trees in between the trailers. So I made two of these little guys up because I thought we needed to have some shade in and around the trailers. And I thought this would be a great way to accomplish that. This is my absolute favorite way to make trees. To make them, it's just a combination of these parts. And if you want a little bit more height, you can start with this modified brick. Let's start by assembling a tree base. You're going to come up, take an antenna, place a telescope on the end of the antenna, and then take your 3-piece sprue and place it onto that. And repeat this as tall as you want the tree to be. I typically stop with 3 sprues coming up, and if you want it to be a little fuller on each section, what you can do is you take one more sprue, the modified plate, put it in the back side, and then take this modified plate, put on the bottom, and because it's got that little hole, you can put that on the end of your sprue. Now at each one of these, you can put 3 more of the tree leaves. And just to show you how you do the leaves, you take the tree leaf piece with the sprue, and you just fill in each one by pushing them into the leaf. Now, typically what I do is I will leave a couple that are empty, so I'm not putting the sprue in 4 of them. But if you want the tree to be more full, you can absolutely put the sprue in each one of these pieces. This tree is already filling up, and on the end of each one of these little plant stems, I always put a sprue just to fill it in a little better. And then you got the last hardest part, which is just figuring out where you want to put all these cool looking trees. Now over on this corner, I really felt that this would be cool to have a small forest as you're leading up and into the city. And because it's a forest, I wanted some really big trees. So I made this guy using the same essential technique I did for that tree. Just to explain a little further, the base of this, if you look real closely, this is the base of the Whomping Willow tree. And all I did is I removed the piece that was on the end of the Whomping Willow and replaced them with sprues. And then I added a small piece in the middle with a few more arms and put sprues on each end of those. And now you have a really big, full adult looking tree to place in your city. With some of the vegetation added, now we're going to be adding one of my favorite styles of pine tree. And I love doing this method because not only does it give a lot of fill, it's a really cool looking tree, and it gives you the opportunity to do a lot of unique colors. To explain that pine tree, this is the only part you need to make that style. And what you do is you take your modified brick with studs on all sides, and then you put on your clip all around it like so. For the end caps, you put it all around it, and then you put a piece on the end. And for the center, you use the brick and you put the 1x1 round plates just to hold the pieces out just a little bit. Start with one of those pieces with the plates on all sides, and then you're going to take these, if that's going to be your end cap anyway, because we're doing a small version of the tree, and you put them on a slight angle. And yes, this is kind of a tedious build, but to me it's worth it because I love how they look. To do the next level, we just add another one of those pieces, and you want to make sure that you keep it just opposite. So every time you add a section, this is going to go this way, and then the next section will be here, and then so on and so forth. You want to constantly keep them staggered. And to cap it off, we just use one more of these, put it on an angle. Now we have another small pine tree. And as you can see, it just really helps to make everything pop because you have a nice blend of color. Okay, now that I've pretty much killed this corner with a huge amount of vegetation, and I just want to point out, I did put a little pathway in over here, and I'm not sure what that pathway is going to be, but I want it to have some form of storytelling. Whether it be that they're going in there for Harry Potter to find his secret lair, or maybe it's a hideout for some gangsters that are living in the trailer park to hide stuff that they've stolen. I don't know. I will figure out some of that storytelling later. And now to do some of the final touches with the greenery in this particular area, I'm going to get a little lazy. And what I'm doing is I'm taking the 3-leaf plant piece, plant stem, and I'm putting them into the leaf base because that is a really quick way to do some fill-in work. And then I'm going to sporadically also place the little 3-leaf stem piece. And now I can finally consider one corner of my city 100% done. Really happy with how it turned out. We have the gravel parking lot area of the trailer park. All the trailers have vegetation now all the way around them. We have the nice shade trees. We have some plants and some flowers growing. And to me, it just looks like it'd be a nice little cozy place to live. And adding in all these power lines, to me, was the final finish that this really needed to come together. Moving forward with my city, the next thing I'm wanting to do is at the end of this telephone pole line, I want to bring down a transformer to give power to the silos that are located over in that farming district. And I also want to do like I did right here. I want to put in a splitter to come out, and then I'm going to bring telephone poles all the way through in between the train tracks. And the reason we're going to be doing that is we're going to be bringing power from those over to each row of the city street that is down in the background. Really happy with how this corner of the city is finally turned out, and I cannot wait to get more work done soon. But this is all for this video, and we'll see you next time on Bevins Bricks.